Thanks for watching Endgame Economics. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. It's completely free for you, and it helps us continue making more videos like this.
Welcome back to The Explainer. So we're diving straight into a massive crisis unfolding in the job market right now. To truly wrap our heads around it, let's ground ourselves in the latest data from May 2026. Unemployment has just hit 4.3%, and honestly, it's still creeping up. Meanwhile, job gains are averaging a really sluggish 26,000 per month across the entire U.S. economy. I mean, that is a massive drop from the pre-pandemic days when we were regularly seeing that number soar well above 200,000. It is a really tough environment out there right now. And right in the middle of this tough environment, there's this one headline you literally see everywhere. Nobody wants to work anymore. You know the narrative, right? The news tells us that younger generations are just lazy, that they're entitled, and they'd rather sit at home scrolling on their phones than earn an honest living. Well, today, we're going to explore how the hard data actually challenges this whole story. The sources we're looking at suggest that people aren't simply refusing to work out of nowhere. They're actually reacting to a system that has fundamentally shifted right underneath their feet. Here's our agenda for today's Explainer. Number 1, the myth of laziness. Number 2, the broken math of work. Number 3, the death of job security. Number 4, toxic culture and AI gatekeepers. Number 5, the collapse of basic benefits. And finally, number 6, how to fix the system. Okay, let's jump into Section 1, the myth of laziness, and diagnosing a totally broken system. This right here is the absolute central argument we need to understand. Workers aren't emotionally opting out of the workforce just because they don't feel like working. No, they are making a highly rational decision based entirely on the financial math of our modern world. Think about the gig economy, the rise of freelancing, all those side hustles. They aren't a rejection of hard work. They're a rejection of traditional employment conditions that just, quite frankly, feel like a really bad deal right now. Moving right along to Section 2, the broken math of work, where we evaluate effort versus reward. Now, this divergence is arguably the absolute most important metric in this entire conversation. Check this out. Since 1979, American worker productivity has exploded by a massive 61%. Thanks to new technology and extreme optimization, workers are producing dramatically more value per hour than ever before in history. But over that exact same period, typical worker wages only rose 17%. That leaves us with a staggering 44% gap between what workers produce and what they actually take home. So the million-dollar question is, where exactly did that 44% gap go? Well, it didn't just vanish into thin air, that's for sure. It went straight into corporate profits, shareholder returns, and executive compensation. By 2023, the average CEO-to-worker pay ratio in America had skyrocketed to 268 to 1. To really put that into perspective, back in 1965, that ratio was just 21 to 1. So workers are producing way more than ever, yet earning a historically smaller slice of the pie they're baking. When you actually break down the reality of everyday survival, the math is just devastating. The federal minimum wage has been stuck at $7.25 since 2009. If you work full-time, that's about $15,000 a year before taxes. But get this, the average one-bedroom apartment in the U.S. costs $18,000 a year in rent alone. The legally mandated floor wage doesn't even pay enough to afford a literal floor to sleep on. And even at the median wage of $23 an hour, which is roughly $47,000 a year, the math gets incredibly tight, and it's actively impossible if you live in a major city. So when people say they don't want to get a job, the data actually shows they mean they literally cannot get a job that makes the math work for basic survival. Let's get into Section 3, the death of job security, and why company loyalty is basically dead. You know that classic 20th century deal, the one where you gave a company your absolute loyalty in your best years, and in exchange, they gave you rock-solid stability and a nice pension? Yeah, that deal is completely dead and buried. Today, the average American is going to have 12 different jobs over their lifetime, basically changing employers every 4 years. And let's be real, this isn't usually by choice. Roles get automated, or companies restructure simply to give their stock prices a little sugar rush. Just look back at the massive layoffs we saw in the first quarter of 2025 across tech, finance, and healthcare. You had companies boasting record profits who turned around and fired tens of thousands of people just to show Wall Street a slightly improved margin. This extreme volatility has completely rewired the mindset of the modern worker. Back during the Great Resignation of 2021 and 2022,
Workers realized, hey, I could be laid off at any convenient moment, so they used their leverage to quit and find way better opportunities. But contrast that with where we are in early 2026. The quit rate has absolutely plummeted to 1.9%. Workers aren't staying because they suddenly love their jobs. They're engaging in something called job hugging. They're terrified to leave, so they feel completely trapped in roles they dislike, which naturally leads straight to active, incredibly expensive disengagement.
Which brings us to Section 4, Culture and AI Gatekeepers, and the grim daily reality of the modern workplace. So Bamboo HR has this happiness index, and it hit a failing grade of 35 out of 100 in 2024. A huge, massive driver here is that over 30% of workers feel absolutely zero sense of belonging at their workplace. And of the people lacking that belonging, 57.2% are deeply dissatisfied with their jobs overall. I mean, making someone feel like a valued human being costs a company absolutely nothing, yet it somehow remains surprisingly rare in the modern office.
When we dig into the top reasons people actually threw in the towel and quit their jobs in 2025, notice what is actually missing at the very top of the list. It's not pay. People are primarily fleeing unbearable psychological environments. The numbers show they're quitting toxic work environments, poor company leadership, and just bad managers. They are walking out the door because the daily, lived experience of work simply does not justify the personal sacrifice anymore.
But here's the catch. Escaping a toxic job is harder than ever right now because of the rise of the algorithm. Job seekers are finding themselves trapped in this awful 6-month void, desperately sending applications out into the ether and hearing nothing back. Why? Because of applicant tracking systems, or ATS. This software acts as a ruthless, automated gatekeeper, automatically rejecting up to 75% of perfectly qualified human candidates before a real human being ever even glances at their resume.
And honestly, this leads us to what is basically a Kafkaesque masterpiece of modern dysfunction. To fight the AI that's rejecting them, job seekers are now using AI to write their resumes. It's an arms race. Some are even paying these reverse recruiters up to $500 a month to manually apply for jobs on their behalf. Think about that for a second. We literally have humans paying other humans to pretend to be them, just to game an artificial intelligence that was designed to screen out humans in the first place. It's a beautifully absurd system designed for exactly nobody.
And once you finally get past the AI final boss and actually land a job, that traditional upward career ladder you were promised, it's often nowhere to be found. Instead, it's been replaced by what they call the career lattice. That means a whole lot of sideways, lateral moves layered with empty promises of future growth. This total lack of upward mobility is exactly why 19.5% of retention raises completely fail. A sudden emergency bump in pay just doesn't fix a fundamentally broken career path. Workers take the money and leave anyway, because they can clearly see their extra effort isn't leading to real advancement.
Now let's look at Section 5, the collapse of basic benefits and the real compensation gap.
Let's talk about healthcare. In America, healthcare is essentially treated as a perk attached to employment, which basically chains workers to bad jobs just so they don't lose coverage. By 2026, the average cost of an employer family health plan is sitting at a whopping $23,000 a year. But what nobody really talks about is that this isn't some generous corporate gift. It's invisibly subtracted from what could have been your take-home salary. It's literally your compensation forcibly funneled directly to an insurance company without your choice or any room for negotiation.
And retirement has followed that exact same downward trajectory. Just look at this massive generational shift. We went from defined pensions, where the employer shouldered the actual financial risk of your retirement, to the modern 401k. Now, 100% of the market risk and all the stress of managing it has been entirely transferred onto the shoulders of the individual worker. The safety net has basically been outsourced to you.
Finally, we reach Section 6, how to fix the system. Let's talk about some real structural solutions.
So we have the diagnosis, but the source material doesn't leave us hanging. It actually prescribes some major solutions. Fixing this whole mess requires serious political will and fundamental economic shifts. Step 1 is rebuilding worker collective power, whether that's through unions or broader labor reform, to finally close that massive wage productivity gap. Step 2 is making healthcare portable, which would break the chain binding people to toxic jobs. Step 3 means reforming AI hiring practices so actual human judgment re-enters the process. And Step 4, treating management quality as a hard, measurable, accountable business outcome to finally eliminate the toxic cultures that are driving everyone away.
So let's pull back and tie all this data together for our core takeaway. When you actually stop and look at the 44% wage gap, the literal impossibility of affording median rent, the complete death of job security, the wall of AI gatekeepers, and the collapse of basic benefits, the truth, at least according to the research, becomes undeniably clear. The whole "nobody wants to work" headline, it's just fundamentally false. People are not lazy. The data suggests they are highly rational actors who are simply, and rightly, refusing to engage in a broken negotiation where the other side holds absolutely all the cards. Which leaves us with this final, truly provocative thought to chew on. The relationship between employers and workers is, at the end of the day, ultimately just a contract. So if we actually muster the collective political will to step up and fix the broken terms of that deal, what happens next? Thank you so much for joining me to explore the data in today's Explainer, and I really hope this gave you a whole new perspective on the reality of the modern workforce. See you next time.